and play with the comfy cushions, or having days out with our volunteers. We were a team, you and me. Even when at times it was hard, we muddled through and had a lot of fun. Now that I am getting bigger, there are new challenges, but we are in this together, you and me. I love you, Mum.
I love you, Mum.
I love you, Mum.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name's Bev Morgan and I am the CEO at Koala Northwest. I hope those of you who were waiting or have just arrived had the opportunity to listen to some of the children who did a recording for us as the voices of young children talking to parents. We will be playing this again at the end of the session if anybody missed it and wants to hear it before you leave. We won't be able to see you this morning, but we would love to hear from you in the chat function at the bottom of the screen. So please feel free to ask any questions and also to let us know what you find interesting. It's nice to know that you are there and we aren't just speaking to an empty room. We will try to respond to the chat as we go along, and if there is time at the end of the session, we will answer questions. But if we don't have any time, we will make sure that any questions and answers from the chat are circulated with the presentation later. Over the next hour, you will have the opportunity to meet a number of staff who will be delivering services under the 1001 Days programme, and to also hear from Carol Fenlon, Head of Early Childhood Services, about the important work of children's centres in supporting children in their first 1001 days. We are also pleased to be able to have Simone White, Wirral's new Director of Children's Services, join us at the end of today's session. Louise, Director of the Foundation Year Trust, will be talking about the importance of partnership working in collaboration shortly. But first of all, for those of you who don't know Koala Northwest, we have been supporting families on the Wirral for 21 years now, offering a range of services for children aged 0 to 11 and their families. Today is actually our first anniversary of being called Koala Northwest, having previously been known as Home Start Wirral. We rebranded a year ago, and we could never have imagined that our first year as Koala Northwest would coincide with a pandemic. But despite the difficulties we've all been through adapting to COVID restrictions, we've had an extremely busy and productive year. In fact, probably one of our busiest years ever with regards to referrals and our services that we've developed. We've been providing a range of services to pregnant women and children in early years for many years, and we are proud members of the First 1001 Days movement. This is a group of organisations and professionals working together to campaign about the importance of emotional well-being of babies. It has also been our ambition for many years to be able to have a dedicated 1001 Day service, but lack of funding has always been a barrier, unfortunately. That is until now. So things have changed, thankfully. So last September, the Department of Health and Social Care announced the new Health and Wellbeing Fund was opened for applications from the voluntary sector, with proposals asked for how they would improve health outcomes for children from preconception to 2.5 years old. This was a national fund, and only one application could be submitted from each local authority area, and a maximum of 20 grants would be awarded across the country. Working in partnership with the Foundation Year Trust and with support from two key people in the council, Carol Fenlon and Julie Graham, we put an application together for a 1001 Days programme. And we were one of only 19 organisations in the country to be awarded the Health and Wellbeing Grant to expand and develop our work in Wirral's 5 most deprived wards. Sarah, our 1001 Days programme manager, will provide a lot more information about this later. Although the funding from the Department of Health and Social Care is to enable us to do some targeted work in the 5 specific wards, it is our ambition and that of Wirral Council to be able to expand this work to offer a Wirral-wide 1001 Days service offer eventually. To support this ambition, the 1001 Days programme will be externally evaluated over the next 2 years. The evaluation will be continuous, informing planning and delivery, and will be starting and shared. We'll be sharing outcomes framework and monitoring tool that can be used by all partner organisations. A halfway point evaluation will also tell us how interventions in the Wirral's 5 most deprived wards are working and suggest improvements. and the final evaluation report will indicate whether the project has achieved its aims and to what extent. And we will make sure that this report is widely circulated to ensure you're kept informed of the progress of the Wirral 1001 Days programme. Finally, the theme of the Health and Wellbeing Fund is starting well, and our 1001 Days programme will be following the 5 main outcomes that the Department of Health and Social Care are looking for, as you can see on the slide. With both our current and new services under the 1001 Days programme, we are confident that in partnership with the Foundation Year Trust, children's centres, health visitors, midwifery, and all the other amazing early years providers on Wirral, that we believe that we can make a real difference to the lives of families in Wirral. I would now like to introduce Louise, Director of the Foundation Years Trust, who will tell you a little bit more about her organisation and our ambition for true partnership working across sectors.
Thanks, Bev. Morning, everyone. As Bev said, Louise, Director of Foundation Years Trust. So just briefly, Foundation Years Trust was actually established in Wirral in 2014. And our focus is on early years and specifically around the home learning environment. So supporting parents to build their skills and knowledge of how to encourage their child's early development. There's a very wide body of research that demonstrates the power of parental influence on a child's outcomes in the first 5 years, and that this influence cuts across social and economic divides. So effectively, what parents do is more important than who they are. We also know that it is families in the more deprived areas that often have less knowledge or experience from their own childhoods to effectively support that early development. So we work alongside parents to change that. Later, Gemma's going to be telling you more about how FYT's work fits in with the 1001 Days programme. Could you just change the slide there, Lynn? But briefly today, as Bev said, I wanted to touch on the collaboration that's actually the foundation to the 1001 Days programme. So we're really proud to have partnered with Koala in this funding bid, and we're very, very proud of the programme that we're putting together with Koala and with our partners in the early childhood services, 0 to 19 services at the moment. As you know, partnerships, it's not just about consultation, it's not just about signing an MOU. It's actually about planning together to provide the best we can for the families we work with. And it's about recognizing the value of what each partner has to offer and working together to maximize that. So our respective services have worked alongside each other very comfortably for a while now, and we've joined together on specific pieces of work, and particularly over the pandemic period. But when Bev approached us with the idea about the 1001 Days funding bid, it was an ideal opportunity to bring our work for families of 0 to 2-year-olds together in a way that we haven't achieved previously. And each partner has a different expertise, but our services are very complementary, and we can actually now offer this as a cohesive offer to Wirral families. So we can speak with one voice about the services we provide. And what's important in this is that Wirral families are actually getting the services that they want and that they choose to be part of. So yeah, it starts with the simplicity of a leaflet that lays out what's on offer between the partners, but it continues with us building a sense of team between teams. And each team member will be able to speak fluently about the services offered by other partners. And we won't be relying on busy parents to dig up that information or to discover it, because as professionals, that is our responsibility. And I think we'll be able to identify success with this programme when families can move fluidly and confidently between our services according to their own wishes. I think the partnership also lays the foundation for future planning in our sector, which starts from a really strong knowledge of what it is that each of us can offer and the value of that offer. And I also think it better prepares us for the knocks and bumps that are likely to come down the road at us over the next couple of years or few years, and better ensures that Wirral families are actually not the ones feeling the impact of that. But actually, it's not just agencies in this partnership. We're already developing this programme with parents that access services and volunteers that live in the communities where we're focusing. And that's going to be a major part of our approach in delivering the programme. And likewise, I mean, today there are people around our virtual table that I hope are going to become much more involved. and work with us to add value to the programme. So relating to my quote on the slide there, we have come together increasingly as partners, and I believe that the 1001 Days moves us from working together on specific projects to working together collaboratively across all our respective services. And I also think that once this partnership is an established way of working, that there's no turning back from that. And I think that's something we should all be really proud of. So thanks, and I'm going to hand over to Carol now, who I'm sure is going to give us perspective from children's centres and from early childhood services.
Thank you, Louise. Good morning, everybody. If you're not already emotional, like myself, it's an absolute delight to be here this morning and in partnership delivering this fantastic programme for Wirral. Wirral's children's centres, as you know, have for many, many years been delivering services for under fives, and a key aspect of that has been over recent years the specific drive around the focus for our under ones, our newborns, our antenatal and our under ones. The reason behind that is we know that, you know, there's certainly for children's services, there is a higher prevalence of our babies, our newborns needing services the most. And, you know, as children's centres, that early help offer is key, and working and delivering in the community where, you know, and engaging where parents are at the first point of need. And it's been, you know, as Bev said earlier, it's been a real drive and ambition to produce a programme that becomes a seamless pathway for parents in navigating through the many services that are there, not just in the 5 wards, but across Wirral, from all the agencies that I'm sure are tuned into this morning. You may recall, for some of you, that in 2019, Wirral had the early years peer review. So the Local Government Association came in and did a peer review of the early years system and everybody that's engaged in that. And the legacy they left was that there was a very strong universal offer from the first 1001 days, from 0 to 2. However, it challenged us in our thinking about being more joined up as professionals, as services, as the offer. And through that, coming about a shared outcomes framework, so that for children's centres, if we're engaging families into the lovely baby babble that you heard earlier, and if Koala Northwest are engaging into the baby babble and foundation years into their programmes, or whoever else in the community, that we don't do that as a silo. You know, parents are not, you know, have a greater offer across the services, but as professionals, we understand how our families want to engage with us, and this gives us an opportunity of having that shared outcome, that overarching umbrella as services and as professionals, that we navigate and we work at first hand with our parents, and our parents don't feel that, well, I have to go here and maybe I don't go there, and if I go there, maybe I don't go there. The pathway is very seamless. And as Bev said earlier, it is about, this is a great opportunity to do a testing ground for ourselves, really, our challenge and our thinking on how do we improve our data, our data analysis, our data sharing, our understand, because if we analyse the data, we understand what our families need, where are they most likely to take up the offer, and then what do we need to build from that, where are the gaps collectively, and then we can work on the shared outcomes and improving those outcomes, which we know through the last 12 months have been significant for parents around that isolation, that engagement from services, given where we have been through this past 12 months, and they're very keen and ready to come back out. The My Child Can Facebook page that we have for the children's centres has been absolutely inundated, as I know our partner organisations have, in engagement, but there's always that everlasting question, of what's next. When are you coming back? When can we come back in? When will the groups start again? Because our parents in these first and that antenatal stage and those first years, first weeks and first years of their child life, they want that peer support. And as Anna Louise said, it's critical in terms of building that peer support, and parents being very much at the heart of this programme. So there's a couple of areas that will, along with the programme, be embedded through the programme, and as highlighted on the slide there, the Welcome to the World offer, which has been delivered in the community, and this is very much around the community engagement with our families, and that first touch point with parents. The communication and language, and we are just launching, which has been built with everybody who's in the room today, around the speech language and pathway for Wirral, which starts antenatally and working with midwives and how we get that talking to our bumps and moving through. That's it. Look out for that document that will be arriving soon. And then the overarching document, which will be coming out later this year, is the early years strategy, which sets out the journey from antenatal to the school door, the school readiness journey. But the 1001 days is critical point of getting it right, as everybody will know, and the research that's coming out, it builds the foundation for a child's resilience, those early connections, those early language developments, that having happy and healthy first years sets you off for the rest of your life. So the strategy is around being ready to learn, ready for school, and ready for life. And today is about everybody having a think, how do we do that? And really looking forward to getting around the table with you all across the life of this programme, but thereafter across the life for Wirral, for our newborns and new parents. I'm going to pass you over now to Sarah Atherton, who's the 1001 Programme Manager for Koala Northwest. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Can everybody see me? Lovely. Okay. So Carol's already talked about, this partnership theme that we want to bring in much more around the 1001 Days programme, and we do that already with our breastfeeding groups running in children's centres. So we've heard lots about the amazing work that goes on from Koala Northwest. We've heard about Foundation Years Trust from Anna Louise, and now Carol's introduced us to what we already know goes on at children's centres. So what's the difference? We already integrate into maternity services and we work closely with 0 to 19. What's the difference around 1001 Days? Well, really, it's about that collaboration that everybody's already sort of discussed. It's about families being able to pass seamlessly through their own pathway. And I think, we have a lot of pathways for professionals and for families, but what we really wanted to do at Koala Northwest is make this pathway for the babies. And it's about families being able to have their finger on the pulse and know everything that's available across the Wirral so that they can pick and choose what works for them. We know that it's not one size fits all across the Wirral. And when we're looking at these 5 wards, we know that things might need to be delivered slightly differently. But for us, it's about having a range of services that will meet the needs of the families and the babies at the point that they are. So, we've got that for the families. They shouldn't need to feel that they need, numerous referrals and passing from one service to the other. They can just feel like this is, a range of professionals and colleagues that are supporting their outcomes for their babies. And along that, with the pathway for the babies, we've also got that network for professionals. We've done so much research and consultations with families during the production of this pathway and this service. And what we've heard again and again from families that we've supported through the last 12 months through COVID, but previously through our history, is that we don't know what's out there. We didn't know about that service. We didn't know that service run that special group that would have really made a difference for us. So through that consultation work, what we've looked at is having this one point of contact. And as Anna Louise did say, it is a simple leaflet, but actually that simple leaflet brings all of our organisations together. so that actually we have our finger on the pulse as professionals as well as families. So the network, we will be having network meetings alongside the programme, again feeding back from our different wards, looking at that statistical information, working out what's working well, where are the gaps, where are we duplicating services, and where do we need to adapt and change. So those network meetings will be a place for us as professionals to come together, to share the fabulous work that's happening and to feedback, so that we can collectively on Wirral meet the needs of the 1001 days for all of our families. But I've just noticed in the chat, you know, whereabouts are these 5 wards? If you can just change the slide, please. So again, if you, as we said, this is our one fabulous leaflet, and you'll notice the banner behind me. So these banners will be up, pull-up boards will be up in our 5 wards, giving families, you know, that promotional information about what we're offering, but getting them used to the branding. And as Louise said, all of our staff across our services will have a real understanding of what each other offers. So through the network and through our meetings and through being able to identify what this family individually needs, we will be able to signpost, or, you know, to say, actually, we might not be able to meet your needs as well as this service could, and we're not going to be precious about these families. We're going to make sure that they know we're all in it together, that 1001 days umbrella as such. And these are our wards. So looking at Seacombe, Leeso and Morton East, Rock Ferry, Birkenhead and Tranmere, Bidston and St James. So most of our services work across the Wirral. And we're not saying that actually you won't be able to take advantage of these fabulous offers in the other areas of the borough, but we will be doing a much more condensed, proactive pieces of work in these 5 wards, because when we look at the statistics, we know that these families need more support. We need to be more proactive, and they don't engage as well with the services. So we need to bring that information to them. You know, as Louise said, we need to know what's out there so that they don't have to go fishing for it and finding it. You know, it's our job as professionals to understand what we can offer to families to meet those outcomes. And as well as the leaflet and the banners, we've also put a QR code on there. What we found with a lot of the consultation and you know, historically working with different services, often we have a pot of money, we produce a service, we advertise it, and then things change. So what we wanted to do is produce a timely piece of information that would have some longevity to it. So we've produced a web page, and each leaflet and each banner has a QR code. And that QR code will take you through to the web page where all of that information from our network will be updated regularly. So if a group changes, if, you know, Foundation Years Trust have a new service running in that area, we can put it on there straight away as soon as it runs. You know, if one of our groups finishes, we can again change that. So parents are hot on the press, they know what's out there. If we look at sort of the numbers within those 5 wards, you can see from the slide, you know, we've got ample opportunity to integrate and to meet these families at where they need. We'll be doing that through a range of things. Lynn, if you can just change the slides. So what we offer now, for those who don't know what Koala Northwest does in relation to breastfeeding support. So in 2009, we were funded to deliver breastfeeding support, and that has changed, you know, year on year with different funding streams. But what we've been delivering historically, most recently is our postnatal community support. And we do that using volunteers who've breastfed their own children. So this is about using a peer support model to come in alongside families, non-judgmental approach, and to be able to advocate for them and to inform them of what's out there, whether that be through visits, calls, tech support. We run structured sessions, we have social networks, and lots of online support, especially in the last 12 months. As I said before, who is it? They're people who've breastfed their own children, but, you know, as Louise said, they're often people from these areas. They are the family's peers, so meeting them, you know, alongside them. What do we do? Well, I think if you look postnatally at our outcomes, Wirral's collective figure for 6 to 8 week prevalence, so those families that are still breastfeeding at 6 to 8 weeks, sits at around 34 to 36%. For the families who've been through Koala Northwest, 86.1% of them are still breastfeeding at 6 to 8 weeks. So if you know, we know that it works postnatally But what we're really eager to do is, again, go back to antenatal education, and under the 1001 Days programme, we're going to be able to meet families during pregnancy. And it's being able to just touch base with them and talk about infant feeding, but not just infant feeding. You know, we'll be able to make contact in the perinatal time so that we can have early help to other services. You know, we can highlight if there is issues with perinatal mental health, or if families are struggling with their transition to becoming a parent, or they've got previous things that are going on and are causing them anxiety around this birth. So we can be there right at the first point of contact and be able to advocate about the other services in the community. So support in pregnancy will be through calls. We're looking at a text buddy system where we can send information weekly, one-to-ones, and also education sessions, group support, and again, engaging in this social network so that they don't feel alone, but also that they can ask those questions before they become huge worries. Okay. And just, you know, we've dabbled a little bit antenatally over the last 12 months, and this is just a little bit of feedback from one of the families who accessed our support during the pandemic, during pregnancy, and felt like, you know, needed to skill themselves up. So I'll let you have a little read of that. And then I will hand over to my new colleague from Foundation Years Trust, Gemma.
Thank you, Samara. Thank you. Right, hello everybody. Yeah, so I'm Gemma Hardy. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Foundation Years Trust. Like Louise said before, here at FYT, we understand that parents are the child's first and foremost educators, really. We believe the potential of every parent and every child. That's why they're always at the heart of what we do. We want to support parents and build up their confidence and self-appreciation of all that they do. Excuse me. So we plan to deliver early explorer groups within the community using our People Learning Together programme. Our early explorer groups will cover all areas of learning, but we will have an emphasis on communication and language, as we know there's such a need for it and such a need for that support in that area. We will also support personal, social and emotional development, as we know children's mental health are at everyone's, you know, the front of everyone's mind at the moment, you know, since the pandemic started. So we'll work with the children's centres or the grassroots community hub centres and groups that are already established. We want to ensure that we're not duplicating but complementing what is already happening, like Louise said before. Our groups will use a strengths-based model, and by acknowledging what the parents are already doing at home and then extending and building on this will increase their confidence in home learning, which will in turn, hopefully, will make them do more of it at home. We do this in an informative, non-friendly, non-judgmental way by sharing ideas. The peer-to-peer model works really well in this format, as it allows parents to share ideas and worries and concerns with each other while we're there to offer advice and guidance alongside them. We plan to expand our groups by offering opportunities to parent volunteers to train and co-deliver with our staff, which is very exciting. We also are involved in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Now, this is an amazing, fantastic project, and we're so excited to be involved in this. It's a collaboration between all three agencies, co-funded by FYT and the children's centres. All partners will be actively involved in signing up new births to the 5 wards. So families can sign up, they'll get a book each month. Everyone will get the same book. So hopefully we can do things on social media, we can have activities, we can have story times, maybe in the park, local libraries. Everyone will have that book that month, so all 3 agencies can use it in their groups to run activities. It's very exciting. FYT will enhance the programme with our Reading Buddy scheme. So it'll be volunteer-led, supporting families that are less comfortable with sharing stories with their babies. And it'll develop a love of shared reading, really. We expect the Reading Buddy scheme to start in a few months once volunteers are trained and restrictions allowed for home visits. Also, in our early explorer groups, we refer to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and books will be promoted. That month's book will have shared story times and linked activities. So it's all very exciting. I'm going to hand you over now to Gemma Hughes, my colleague at Koala Northwest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gemma. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gemma Hughes and I am the Early Learning Coordinator for Koala North West. And I just want to share with you today a little bit about my job role and how it will sort of fit in within the 1001 day movement. So my background gives me a wealth of knowledge about early years learning. Before Koala, I was deputy manager at a private day nursery in a deprived area. So in that role, I was able to see firsthand the negative impact of children coming into a formal learning environment who were already behind in the milestones as per the EYFS. We were playing catch up from the word go. So this meant rather than extending the children's learning, we were going back and revisiting previous milestones to get them up to speed before we could actually move them forward. So basically we were going back to the beginning, going back to basics. And obviously this is particularly relevant in this current climate because many of the children we'll be working with are lockdown babies, children affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. So not only might they have been behind for reasons to do with deprivation and any other barriers they face, but this has now been made worse by the inability of these children to socialise and be stimulated through external sources. As we all know, we need to build and extend children's first-hand experiences and understanding of the world by being in the outside world. So children born in the pandemic have missed out on these opportunities. This is going to mean for some children, they are going to be further behind than they would normally be. Therefore, it is my role to work with families and children between 0 and 2 in the home and using my knowledge of the EYFS, and I'll observe, I'll interact with children and families to identify any milestones that have been missed or they're behind on, and I will help put in place support, strategies and goals that the family can do within the home environment to help them bridge the gap, to bridge the learning gap. Now, this could be done through something as simple as to support the parents to teach the child how to sit at a table, use a knife and fork. It could be modelling bonding and brain building activities. It could be to help parents become attuned to their baby, to help promote early social and emotional experiences. Or it could be something as complex as promoting language through the listening and sounds programme, so that these children develop phonetic awareness that will help bridge the gap of their language development. So thereby, I'll be supporting families to overcome barriers to support their child's early learning and helping parents to give the child the best possible start in life, focusing on engaging parents in the child's early learning and development, getting them to lay the foundations that will last a lifetime and enable their child to reach their full potential. Okay, so I hope that's given you a little bit of insight into myself and my role at Koala. So I will just hand you over to Steph, our PIMS coordinator.
Thanks, Gemma. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see so many of you all joining us. So my name's Stephanie Leeson. I am the PIMS coordinator here at Koala North West. And for those of you that aren't aware, PIMS stands for Parent Infant Mental Health Service. And this service exists within Koala to support those early relationships between parents and their babies. We support expectant parents and for parents with a child up to the age of 2. So for many parents, having a baby can be a really difficult time. And I think, a lot of us can relate to these difficulties, lack of sleep, isolation, infant crying, mental health, just to name a few. So many of these factors can really impact on those parent-infant relationships. And this is why it's so important that we work together collaboratively, because early detection is really the key here. Excuse me. So what does the service offer for parents and infants? So Firstly, we offer a wonderful peer support service from our volunteers who within this project receive additional training within parent-infant mental health. So the volunteers will be trained in attachment, some mentalisation, thinking about the infant's voice, the baby's voice, and perinatal mental health. And these volunteers can provide families with emotional support, practical support when restrictions allow. And I think what's really important, what the last year has really highlighted to us all, is that when we cut off those social connections, we can really struggle. So I think now more than ever, that peer support and that emotional support that they give is so valuable. We also offer something called video interaction guidance. Now, what's really interesting is back in 2014, the 1001 Days Critical Days Manifesto highlighted that actually vulnerable families whereby a caregiver, a parent really struggle to provide sensitive, responsive and appropriate care to their infant should be able to access specialist support which promote parent-infant interaction. And one of the things they recommended was video interaction guidance. So we're really pleased that we're able to offer this service. So video interaction guidance, it's a strengths-based intervention and it aims to improve communications between parent and infant. It gives parents the chance to reflect on their interaction with their child. It draws attention to the elements that are really successful, so it's really strength-based, and it's supporting parents to make those desired changes. There's a real emerging evidence base for VIG. It is one of 2 recommended programmes in the NSPCC's delivery review of early intervention. And we on average, we normally support families for about 6 to 8 sessions throughout the VIG. And what we would do is we'd film them for 5 minutes interacting with the infant, their baby. And then the next week, we would take out a film and share with them the times that they were really attuned to their infant. And we build upon this. And what parents really find is it's really strength-based. So a lot of the times they hear professionals or people tell them what they're doing wrong. Actually, what's really nice about this is we highlight and spotlight what they're doing really well. So it's also been shown to improve parental sensitivity towards the child, which really highlights the importance of this early preventative work and about early detection. So the PIMS project, it's a real flexible offer for parents. They can access the VIG, they can access the volunteer support or both. And they will also have regular support from a PIMS coordinator who will also be able to support the parents to think about their own well-being and about some positive coping strategies. We work collaboratively with the perinatal mental health services and the perinatal midwife and health visitor. So this is really important for us because if we recognise that families do need that extra support, we can refer up. But I think it's really important for you guys to hear the parents' voice and some feedback from parents. And we've put together with a beautiful video of some feedback from parents about what they say about the services that they have. And I think it's really important that we share this with you guys and also with parents as well to help other parents feel at ease in access and support. So let's have a few minutes to watch this video.
I knew she was born at 8:30 in the evening, and I think it was by 9 o'clock the following morning I'd already been messaging Koala and had the telephone support within 24 hours and a video call within 24 hours. So very helpful to know that that was there and that was something that could be immediately accessed.
Just being able to talk to somebody and, you know, they're there for you.
With regards to kind of support for the newborn, Bobby, I've had Koala Northwest for breastfeeding support, and I've had that virtually with video calls, messages. I've attended a couple of the groups which I really enjoyed doing. A little bit daunting, I must say, like logging in and not knowing who's actually going to be on a group, and you know, might not slept that night and your hair's on top of your head, and you don't know who you're going in to talk, like who's going to be on that. But you know, it's nice actually going on and just even just having a little natter with somebody that's quite nice.
It's made me see that I can bond with him, because I struggled with bonding. And seeing the pictures, you can see the connection is there, even if you don't realise that it's there, because you can struggle to see it when it's just you and the baby all day. You don't see them things for yourself, but when it's in front of you, you can see what's going on. Don't be afraid to reach out. If you are struggling, don't feel that it makes you a bad mum, or that other people won't understand, because it's quite surprising how many people are going through it, but you don't realise they're going through it.
Don't be afraid, just pick up the phone and give them a call, because they are such lovely staff. So just don't be afraid to do it. I know it sounds terrifying that you're struggling, but everyone's in the same situation as yourselves. You're not on your own.
Okay, so I hope you all managed to hear that. I know it was a little bit jumpy at times, but I hope you managed to hear the beautiful messages that the parents put together for us. So I think it's really something we're really passionate about within this project, is to hear the parents' voice more, and the infant's voice, and to share these stories of support. So we feel that this is really important. I'm now going to pass you on to Simone White, the Director of Children's Services for Wirral Council. Thank you for listening to me.
Hello everybody. I'm really, really delighted to be here today at the start of this project. It is such an important project for us, for parents, but most of all for our little ones in their first 1001 days. For me, the 1001 days is so important because it's in those early days that we form the script about who we are as a human being. Who we are is made up of our genetics, but it's also made up of our experience. And the human race is about survival, isn't it? And those days are full of fast learning about what the world means to us. The things that we grow and learn then stay with us for a long time. I'm a social worker by trade, and I believe that people can change at any point in their life. But those early chapters and how they're written actually can make that very easy or very, very hard. I know that our parents out there all want to love, support, and do their very best for their children. Again, I know from being a social worker, even those parents that have struggled so much to do that absolutely want the best, even though at times we all know that being a parent is one of the hardest things we do, and getting it right every time is a huge struggle for any of us. Why I think this is important? Well, when I came back to Wirral, and I'd been in Wirral for many, many years, I went away for over a decade and I came back to work in social care initially. And in my first few days, what I saw children of parents who I'd been involved with when they were children. And what that said to me is that we were not getting it right in the way we supported parents. Because again, so many families in the world live through the challenge of trying to become really good parents without the support they need to break the cycle that's been in place for some of them for generations to really move on and support their children. I think getting it right in the first 1001 days will give our children and our parents that script, that belief that we can all be really good parents, we can really move our children on, and that creates a change, a step change for when you go into school, for when you become an adult, and when you face the rest of the world. So getting it right in this period is something that I am really delighted Koala are going to help us with. All the little things we do make a difference, and they add up to children who are happy, healthy, and able to face life as school, as adults, and let's not forget to deal with the stresses and strains of becoming a parent and to have that resilience they need to raise the next generation. So we cannot ever forget how important those first 1001 days are, that we can help people beyond that, but let's get it right as often as we can by supporting the people and parents who need us at this stage. So thank you, Koala, and back over to you.
Thank you, Simone, and thank you to everybody else who has spoken today. We have got time. I think we've all spoken quicker on speed dial. But if anybody does have any questions, if you want to put your hand up, and then Lynn can let anybody in that wants to ask any questions, or if any of my team or Anna Louise or your team want to sort of say anything more. Give a couple of seconds for anybody. Anybody got anything they want to ask? I mean, I mean, as you can see, this, we've got some quotes on here, and these were just put on our Facebook page last week, I think it was, by a few parents, when there was a discussion going on about how it felt to have a baby during lockdown. I think everybody that's in attendance today knows how difficult it's been for parents with young children. Well, it's been difficult for all of us, but it's been difficult to have a baby during this time. I know Gemma mentioned about how much more we need to be doing to make sure that those babies don't fall behind, those children don't fall behind. I don't know if Sarah, if you want to say anything else before we'll put the the audio on again later, just before we go. But if Sarah, anybody else wants to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Bev. I think you know, it's just us all having that collaborative, joined up piece of work, and I think everybody's talked about it throughout their presentations, and families want to feel it. You know, from the consultations we've done, they don't want to know who's delivering it. They don't want to know what package it comes in. They just want us all to share the fabulous work each other does. So, you know, through the network and through the collaboration, through this 1001 days umbrella, we're going to make things better for parents. Yes, definitely within the 5 wards, but, you know, across the whole borough. So, you know, we're really excited at Koala North West, Foundation Years Trust, Children's Centres, but, you know, not just us. Part of the network is about finding, you know, these little pockets. You know, it could be a little church group that, you know, is in Seacombe that 30 mums go to every week, but it's not advertised anywhere else. You know, we need to look at these little treasures in the community, because those families are, you know, they're voting with their feet. So, you know, what's going on in that little church group? Why does it work so well? Can we share that? Let's bring the church people in. Let's see why they do such a fabulous job. And it's about sharing good practice. It's about not duplicating and also not being precious. Let these families move through all the fabulous services so that we have fabulous outcomes for children.
Thanks, Sarah. Doesn't look like we've got any questions. There's just some lovely comments in the chat. Thank you. Lynn, can you just play the recording for us? And then for those who have heard it, feel free to leave. But anybody who hasn't heard the recording we played at the beginning, I think it's and staff will be staying on as people are leaving. So if anybody does want to stay and have a sort of more sort of private chat, then please do. Okay. You do the recording then.
Sometimes I was worried too. I remember hearing your voice, and I'd feel the warmth of your hand through your tummy. It made me wriggle and giggle. This was our time to just chill and connect. I could hear other familiar voices too. You were happy knowing we weren't alone, and that others were there if we needed them. We felt safe and secure. I like that. Now, I know that's not how it was all the time, Mum. And that's okay.
I know it was not all plain sailing through. Getting ready to meet me was a stressful time. You're learning lots of new things and preparing to become a parent. I knew you were thinking about me, and all that planning helped us to connect. I know that you had a plan for our first meeting, but Beth had other ideas. Bringing me close and keeping me there as soon as you could made me feel safe and secure. The first weeks were hard. I cried a lot and you both did too. There was some shouting between you, and when you cried, I wanted to hug you.
Some days we went to places and met people that helped us make sense of it all. I like the baby babble. You copied me and I copied you. I loved taking turns. Sometimes you didn't know what I wanted. Sometimes I didn't know either.
But there was always someone there that we could connect with, to ask a question and find out how we were both doing. We went on so much adventures, we made sense of the world. Story time was my favourite. You showed me all about the power within books. I liked the funny voices and silly faces we made together. We did this with other mummies and babies too. And this made you smile. I smiled too. We were developing our brains together. Whether we were at stay and play with the comfy cushions or having days out with our volunteers, we were a team, you and me. Even when at times it was hard, we muddled through and had a lot of fun. Now that I am getting bigger, there are new challenges, but we are in this together, you and me. I love you, Mum. I love you, Mum.
I love you, Mum.
Thank you, everyone. Like I say, sort of staff team from Koala and FYT will be staying on. Anybody else wants to stay on and join us, stay on for 10 minutes or so for a chat, more than welcome. Thank you.
If you're not emotional after hearing that, it was so emotional. Every time.
Well done.